Have you ever wondered why it's so easy to work with some people and a little bit more challenging to work with others? Have you found that where it's just easy breezy for some people that you work with, and then others it just seems like an upward climb? Well, with DiSC, you're going to be able to learn more about those answers when you can look at some basic differences among people and are willing to grow and stretch yourself to meet people where they are. Now, a little background on DiSC. The DiSC learning model was developed from research spanning 90 years now, and it was developed from a professor at Columbia University named Dr. William Marston. And it was in the 1920s that he was making these observations, noticing that people behave in different ways. People behave in different ways. And the first representation of his model was called DiSC in his book titled The Emotions of Normal People. Fast forward today, this is what Dr. Marston's DiSC model looks like. It is broken out into 4 different unique styles: D for dominance, I for influence, S for steadiness, and C for conscientiousness. And the DiSC model has been used for decades to help people understand themselves better. Now, important to note, everyone is a blend of all 4 styles. You and I are a blend of all 4 styles. But the fact is that given the research, most people tend to lean towards 1 or 2 styles. Mostly just 1, but everyone is a blend of all 4. So you could be more dominant in 1 or 2 styles, but again, we're all a blend of all 4. And all styles are equal and valuable. Now, DiSC measures preferences and tendencies. It does not measure your skills and abilities. So that's not what this is for. It's just measuring what you tend to, how you tend to behave, what your preferences are when you're working with other people, how you communicate, right? And how you tend to lean in certain work situations. It's really a tool for dialogue and diagnosis and breaking down barriers, and also managing your assumptions about people. And that's really where I got involved with DiSC, because I was doing a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion training, and I noticed that this was actually an incredible tool to sort of put down our perceptual filters of how we see people, right? One thing to note, DiSC is not used for excusing behavior or pigeonholing people. All right, not used for excusing behavior or pigeonholing people. Okay, so the first step you're going to take is to take the actual DiSC assessment, where you're going to discover your own DiSC style. Next, I'm going to email you that DiSC assessment. And again, it's going to take about 20 to 25 minutes. I strongly encourage you to create and find your own private space with no noise or distraction so you can accurately respond to the questions. I also want to make sure that when you want to be sure when you're answering the questions, you're only answering them based on how you behave at work, not how you might behave outside or at home with your family and your friends, for example. We all know that we're different people in different situations, right? How we show up at home is not necessarily how we show up at work. So really answer the questions as honestly and as instinctively as you can, as they only relate to work-related situations. Once you're done taking the assessment, a report that is personalized to you with your own unique style will automatically be produced, and you'll be able to automatically download that report. I'm going to ask you to bring the report with you to class, and that's all we need to do to get started before we actually meet in person. Now let me tell you about how some of these questions will be presented to you. Okay, so as you're going along here in the assessment, you'll find that the questions will be asking you to examine how you see yourself, whether you see yourself as fast-paced and outspoken or cautious and reflective. You'll also find questions that will go a little deeper, asking whether you consider yourself questioning and skeptical or accepting and warm. Now, based on your responses to these types of characteristics in the questions, that's really what's going to drive your DiSC style. And one of the most important aspects of the DiSC model is that it allows us to show the relationship between 2 people in a straightforward visual way. And it also helps you understand the group dynamic of your team, such as, for example, the frustrations that one person may experience, or maybe someone is feeling alienated or misunderstood by the rest of the group. So that's really the power behind DiSC. Now here's that model again. Once you finish the assessment, your style is going to be plotted as and represented as a dot. So we see this little dot here. Your dot might be placed in a completely different location of the map, such as over here, right? So in this example, we see two people who are considered D styles, but the location of their dot is actually very telling to their style. So it's even going further, not just the fact that you have a specific style in the model, but where that's located, right, will also drive the way you see yourself, how you relate to others, and the strategies and tools that you can use to better relate to others. So we're going to be deep diving into that further when we meet in person.